more than the sun. Joren had never bought anything costly for himself or his son. Even little luxuries were rare in their lives. He worked late into the night at the city's waterworks, worry always present at the edges of his mind, counting every credit. His hands were rough, marked by years of labor and sacrifice. But over time, a small dream had grown and come to drive him to own a miniature son. This dream, born out of his love for his son, was a beacon of hope in his otherwise mundane and frugal life. It was an odd, beautiful thing, the miniature son, a fusion device, the sort that people displayed as art or as proof of getting on in the world. It produced genuine, golden warmth and light you could feel in your bones. And it was expensive in a way nothing else in their little life ever was. Joren collected holograms of it for months before he even believed he might one day hold it. It seemed impossible, out of reach. Still, he saved. He packed every bit of overtime pay into a little electronic folder labeled Son. He cut corners on his meals. Sometimes, because Joren was restless and hope made him selfish, he skipped an evening with his son just to work another shift. Each time, he promised himself that one day he would give Eli something extraordinary, and that it would make up for the lost hours and minor disappointments. His determination was unwavering, his goal clear in his mind. On the day he finally had enough, Joren left his last shift early and took the bus across the city to the high building where such things were sold. Even the store felt different, all silver rails, clean glass, quiet as if the world held its breath. When he walked out, he carried the package close to his chest. For a while, it was all that he could focus on, the weight and warmth of it. The trip home passed in a strange blur. The city moved around him, but all he could think of was the box pressed in his palms. It hummed softly, as if alive, and each pulse of warmth seemed to vibrate straight into his own heart. His anticipation was palpable, his excitement growing with each step. Wherever there was shade, Joren let himself peek at the sun in the box. The light was richer than he had imagined, the gold core churning quietly in a crystal globe. The device was not large, about the size of a child's ball, but contained within it was power and beauty beyond what seemed fair or real. When he hovered his fingers close, the glow reached for him, a soft, impossible comfort. He tried to imagine the look on Eli's face. For years his son had lived with less light, less warmth, fewer presents and surprises. Joren wanted to give him a memory no one else could match. He wanted, maybe selfishly, for Eli to remember him as more than the tired man who always worked late and never quite listened at the dinner table. In those steps leading home, Joren felt full, nearly trembling at what he had finally managed. All those small sacrifices coalescing into this unbelievable, tangible light. At last, the apartment door came into view. Everything inside was quiet. There were shoes by the mat, Eli's bag slumped against the wall, walls painted with their faded family photos, and signs of a young boy's curiosity in every room. Joren placed the miniature sun on the small kitchen table. He undid the clasp and let it bloom. Soft, golden white light poured out, filling the room with a gentle, encompassing radiance. The shadows grew less dark. For the first time in memory, there was genuine physical warmth throughout their tiny home. Every reflective surface caught a piece of that beautiful light. He stood by the table, almost afraid to touch the device again, wanting this perfect moment to last. It was more beautiful than he had ever dared hope. He nearly felt he had stolen a star from the sky. Then the door opened behind him. Eli was home. The boy's presence constantly changed the room. Joren felt Eli's energy, quick and eager. The way he flung down his things and ran, feet scuffing against the old floorboards, arms outstretched in delight. There was no hesitation, only that pure child's love and hunger for comfort at the end of a long day. In that moment, the contrast between Joren's years of sacrifice and Eli's innocent joy was stark, and it filled Joren's heart with a bittersweet mix of pride and regret. Joren turned, and everything that had felt important, the weight, the years of saving, even the light of the sun itself, suddenly seemed very small. Eli's face was bright, the light of the artificial sun painting his cheeks gold. But the real magic was in his eyes. Those eyes were full of life and hope, a whole world of expectations and joys not yet dulled by age or worry. As Eli threw himself into his father's arms, Joren found himself caught in a feeling larger than any light. The warmth in his arms surpassed anything engineered or bought. The miniature sun, so precious a moment before, slipped quietly from his hand as he hugged his son tight. It dropped to the rug, landing soft and harmless, forgotten in the rush of the only thing that truly mattered. At that moment, Joren had a profound realization. The light in the kitchen was lovely, yes, the warmth pleasing. But next to Eli's living heartbeat and the trust of his embrace, it was cold and distant. It could never be enough. His epiphany was overwhelming, his understanding deep and profound. He held Eli for a long time. The world narrowed to that small apartment. The feeling of his son's laughter in his arms, strong and alive and utterly authentic. The miniature sun glowed quietly on the floor, making a pool of gentle gold beside their feet. But the genuine warmth lived in the space between father and son. When dinner was over and the sun had dimmed to its quiet night setting, Joren left it where it was, an ornament, a curiosity, something acceptable but not necessary. The only light that mattered, he realized, was the one you could not buy, build, or own. The sun in his home was not in any device, but in the love that filled his life when he saw his son's face and felt his arms wrapped tightly around him. No achievement, no sacrifice, no invented wonder could glow as bright or so lasting as that.